Let's talk about the Payroll Affordable Care Act reporting through FMS. This was not officially part of the Q3 release, but we wanted to include this in the webinar since it is very timely. FMS has created a report and extract for the new Affordable Care Act. This report will supply clients with necessary information by employee in order to make decisions on health care coverage. The main features of the report include identifying part-time employees with more than 30 average hours per week, calculating average hours for hourly employees, calculating affordability using the federal 9.5% affordability factor, creating both a printed report as well as a CSV extract file. The Affordable Care Act report will supply employers with the following information: employee name, job status, hourly rate, hire, rehire, and term dates, number of weeks worked and the time span provided, total hours worked and average hours worked, health care and taxable wages, the affordable amount an employee could pay and the ceiling of their health care deduction, and total insurance and premiums paid by each employee. The report can be run for any number of pay periods to produce the information. Prior to running the report, two options must be set up in Focus Payroll. They are: number one, identifying earnings codes to include in the wages and hours totals, and number two, identifying the health care deductions to include in the employee's reported premiums. Let's talk about the deduction setup first. The employee's health insurance deduction must be flagged with the deduction option to be included in the reported employee premiums. From the main menu, select Payroll, System Maintenance, and Deductions. Highlight the health insurance deduction and choose Options. On the Options menu, you will need to locate the Health Care Cost option, highlight it, and choose Select. This will turn the option on and will allow the report to include this deduction in the employee's total insurance premiums column on the report. Do this for any other deductions you would like included in this amount. Each earning code needs to be flagged as included or excluded from the health care report. This gives each client the ability to choose exactly which earnings codes are to be included on the report. From the main menu, select Payroll, System Maintenance, then Clients. Highlight the client and choose Options. Choose Work with Earnings and Multipliers. There is a new column on the Work with Earnings and Multipliers screen. It is labeled HC for Healthcare. From the list of earnings codes, highlight an earnings code and click on Edit. On the Edit Earnings Type screen for the Healthcare option, change No to Yes or check the checkbox and click on OK to confirm. Do this for all other earnings codes that should be included on the Wages and Hours column of the report. Okay, let's get started with executing the ACA report. From the Payroll main menu, choose Employee Reporting menu, and then Healthcare Reform Report. The following window will appear. Okay, you'll need to input the client range, so enter the payroll client number, or blank will print all clients within that library. You'll need to enter in the period end date range, so enter in the period end dates to be included in the report. Active flag. The screen defaults to O, which equals only active employees. A equals all employees, or I equals inactive employees only. You can choose whether or not to include the salary. The screen defaults to no, so if you need salary employees listed, please check this box. You can choose whether or not to include full-time designated employees. The screen defaults to yes, so unchecking the box will cause the full-time employees to not be part of the report. The ceiling factor defaults to the federal 9.5%, but this can be overridden to whatever factor you prefer. And minimum average hours. This option allows users to exclude employees with average hours under a specified amount. Enter an amount with 2 decimal places or leave it blank to include all employees regardless of average hours. The report is page broken by store and then sorted by employee name. Run time input criteria are printed at the top of each page. The report includes the following columns: employee name and number from the employment information setup screens, current hourly rate from the employment information setup screens, hire, rehire, and term date comes also from the employment information setup screens under employee maintenance. PP stands for pay periods. This is the number of pay periods where the employee was paid in the date range provided on the input screen. The next column is hours and average hours. There are 2 lines printed for each employee in this column. The top amount is the total hours worked in the date range provided on the input screen. The hours are based on the earnings codes originally activated for the healthcare report. The bottom amount of the column is the total hours divided by the number of pay periods from the PP column. The next column is healthcare wages versus taxable wages. There are 2 lines printed for each employee in this column. The top amount is the total healthcare wages that are flagged on the earnings and multipliers page. The bottom amount is the amount of those wages that are also taxable for federal income tax. The next column is the affordability and ceiling column. There are 2 lines printed for each employee in this column as well. The top amount is the affordability amount found using the following formula: employee's hourly rate times the minimum hours per pay, 30 for weekly or 60 for biweekly, times the number of pay periods in the date range. The bottom amount is the affordability ceiling, which is the affordability amount multiplied by the affordability factor. And the final column is total insurance and premiums. There are 2 lines printed for each employee in this column. The top amount is the total insurance deductions deducted for the employee during the date range. The bottom amount is the total employee premiums per pay period, which is the sum of all healthcare deductions. These values come from deductions with the new healthcare deduction option turned on. Please note that the ACA offers a myriad of employer-specific options regarding the various measurement components of the healthcare law. FMS has attempted to provide you with enough information for you to perform the analytics specific to your circumstance. The responsibility for accurate measurement of your compliance with the ACA is solely the responsibility of each employer. FMS does not assume said responsibility. When the ACA report is run, an extract file is also created. The extract file is a comma-separated file containing the same information as the report. Users may download this file to use in a spreadsheet program such as Excel for additional analysis and processing. The file will have a column for each field in the report with 1 record per employee. This is different than the printed report, as the printed report has 2 lines per employee. In order to download the CSV file, the data transfer utility must be installed on the user's PC. Please contact FMS support if the IBM data transfer program is not installed on your PC. For additional information regarding the ACA CSV extract, please contact FMS support and we will provide you with the tools you need to obtain this file.